There are a few things that are undoubtedly true in the new car market. Automakers are cutting inventory largely due to tariffs. New car prices are higher today than they were this time last year, and they may be higher than you think. And demand for new cars is falling. So let's talk about it. Earlier this month, Cox Automotive released some new data regarding the new car market, and I noticed some trends that I found interesting, and I want to talk about it. And these trends in this data is specifically in relation to comparing September of 2024 data to present day data in September of 2025. First is inventory. As we see here today, inventory for the car market is at 2.76 million units. This is less than what we saw this time last year, which was 2.84 million units. And that is a 2.8% decline in inventory this year compared to last year. So there are less cars to buy, but whenever you look at day supply, the data is actually flat. This time last year, days supply was at 77 days, and this year we're also at 77 days. The reason why this is notable is because day supply is actually calculated off of demand. So basically, how many cars are available to buy versus what does the demand look like, and then they calculate this in a rolling period. So we could have two very different inventory figures, in this case 2.76 million units versus 2.84 million units. And on the surface, less inventory should mean less supply, or vice versa with more inventory. But this isn't always the case because of the fact that day supply is based off of demand. And so in the new car data scenario, we have about 2.8% less cars available to buy this year compared to last. And so days supply should theoretically be less because there are less cars available to buy. But that isn't the case, and day supply is actually flat, which means that demand is actually lower today than it was this time last year. And it's no secret as to why. Because average listing price of new vehicles is quite a bit higher this year, about 4%. Last year, the average listing price was $46,841, and this year it sits at $48,697. Not only is this 4% higher year over year, but it's also 30% higher than what inflation would really dictate. So this is not an inflation issue, and I gotta be honest, I also don't think that it's an issue of automakers price gouging or being greedy either. But I do think that it could be the start of a tariff issue. As we know, automakers have not largely increased prices due to tariffs, but those days are numbered, and automakers are going to be forced to increase prices on new cars sooner than later. And so this 4% increase in new car prices that we saw year over year, yeah, that's not getting better anytime soon. Now, this is market-wide. Inventory is lower, days supply is flat, prices are higher, and whenever we look at individual makes and models, the data becomes a bit more interesting. And in some ways, a bit more frustrating. But you know what's even more interesting? Protecting your car when it needs it most. I own a ton of cars, and while I'm not too protective of my rental fleet, when it comes to my personal vehicles, there is no such thing as too much protection. So when it came to my husband's 2020 Shelby GT500, we decided to install the 70My dash cam to add an extra layer of security, to prevent things like vandalism or break-ins, which our neighbors have experienced in recent months. The 70My dashcam 4K T800 is the industry's first 3-channel dashcam recording in 4K in both the front and the rear, while also getting interior coverage for cinematic clarity. One of the coolest features of this camera is the buffered emergency recording, which means that if you're in an accident, the dashcam will automatically capture the pre-collision footage. Then it takes the footage of up to 3 minutes before the collision itself, and 30 seconds after the collision, and puts that footage into a special folder to prevent it from being overwritten. There are a ton of features, including Guardian modes, which protect your car from hit-and-run incidents, break-ins, and vandalism. With the 70My Night Owl Vision and My Color Vivid Plus image technology, you can make sure to capture clear footage no matter what time it is, as it produces crystal clear footage day or night. And battery voltage monitoring and a separate battery capacitator is included to make sure that your dashcam stays powered on at all times. This is extremely beneficial if you want overnight parking surveillance, or if you want to monitor your vehicle whenever your engine is turned off. For example, if you had your car parked in a parking garage. But that's not all. There's built-in GPS and voice commands for easy recording and image capture, and high-speed quick downloads directly to your phone, anywhere and at any time. This dashcam is full of features and is perfect for anyone who's wanting to protect themselves or their car. The best part is the entire thing was simple to install, and my husband HP had this installed in his Shelby GT500 in no time at all. One of the simplest easy ways to install this would be through the cigarette lighter, or if you want a more seamless installation, or if you find that your cigarette lighter is powered on all the time, which would make this method of installation unsuitable, you can also use a hardwired connection, which provides not only faster charging speed, but a cleaner install. The 70Mi dashcam is the perfect companion for safe driving. And to check it out yourself, you can use the link down in the description below. Less automakers have above average inventory, and while some automakers like Dodge, Ram, or Jeep have seen improvements in their day supply, other automakers have not. In fact, you can see here I've highlighted all of the automakers that have a higher day supply today than they did this time last year, and it makes up about half of the entire graph. Now, the reason for this is sort of twofold. Number one is due to lower demand, especially with some automakers. But the other reason is specifically with imported vehicles, which is the majority of the car market, is the fact that automakers have come out and said that they're going to be more strategic with the vehicles that they import due to the increased in cost of importing these cars because of tariffs. And so the fact that we are seeing a decline in inventory and a day supply with many automakers isn't something that's surprising. And it's not even necessarily surprising that we're seeing softened demand. But it is absolutely a sign that the car market is slowing. Now let's pivot to average vehicle transaction price, which according to KBB is up $49,077, which is 2.6% higher year over year. And average incentive is sitting at 7.2% of ATP, which is down from the 7.3% of the previous month, but is actually flat from this time last year. And I know in these videos I sound like a bit of a broken record, but I do think that this point can simply not be overstated, and that is that in this current car market, there is absolutely no reason, none, for paying above MSRP or a dealership markup of any kind. Because the data doesn't lie. You have brands like Land Rover who literally have inventory stacking up, and yet, as we talked about a few weeks ago when I went to a Land Rover dealership, they are charging above MSRP and crazy prices for dealer add-ons. Or Toyota, who in my opinion is one of the worst culprits, who's charging, at least in the Dallas area, thousands above MSRP under the guise of dealer packages. And looking at Toyota, you may think that these above MSRP prices and packages are justified due to the fact that Toyota does have some of the lowest inventory in the car market, but it is total BS because while Toyota absolutely does have low inventory compared to other automakers, their inventory has always been low. Even before the pandemic, Toyota has historically had low inventory. In fact, you can see this chart here from early 2020, and you can see that Toyota has a 34.4-day supply of inventory, only 1.6 days less than what they have today. You're telling me that Toyota couldn't have improved their inventory by any more than 1.6 days over the last 5 years? A company as large and powerful as Toyota, and in many regards has deemed themselves to have a really efficient production process? I will die on the hill that Toyota's low inventory is self-made by Toyota, and it in no way, shape, or form justifies dealer markups. Now, it'll be interesting to see what happens short term with the car market, given the fact that we are basically at the end of Q3, and if you are someone who is wanting to take advantage of end of quarter deals, now is the time to do that. Additionally, the EV tax credit is going to be ending very, very soon, so if you're wanting to buy an electric vehicle, now is the time to do that as well. And of course, as we head into Q4, it is a very good time to historically buy a car due to aggressive incentives and sales, and that will no doubt impact the car market over the next few months. But long-term outlook, like 2026 and beyond, I think that we're going to be looking at higher new car prices. Like always, you guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, comments, if you have anything to add, I would love to hear it, so make sure to leave a comment down below. And while you guys are at it, make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next video.